everybody, I'm Laura Trump coming to you from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. Have you noticed that as the Democrats continue to campaign for president, they look more radical and more ridiculous all the time? Joining me with his insights is a Trump 2020 Advisory Board member, Jason Meister. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Laura.
We love getting your thoughts. The Democrats seem so incredibly desperate these days. Let's take a look at a perfect example from Joe Biden. Watch this.
Good job. Thank you, man. By the way, first one came out to marry.
Wow, good times. All right, Jason, 3 genders, maybe more. How radical and ridiculous do you have to be these days, apparently, to get the Democrat nomination?
Laura, it's a race to oblivion. I mean, we're really witnessing the implosion of the Democrat Party. When you look at what they're advocating for, open borders, 70% tax rate, the Green New Terror.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, abolishing the Electoral College. They are off the reservation. And I think it's really a testament to the president, who has effectively exposed the left for their radical positions.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like he's got them boxed in a corner in a way, and they have to continue these crazy ideas, and we see it every day. One of the things that they do, unfortunately, is probably the oldest line of attack against a Republican. They continue to use it against this president. They continue to try and call him a racist. Now, let's look at this.
This president has fanned the flames of white supremacy in this nation. His low energy, vacant-eyed mouthing of the words written for him, condemning white supremacists this week, I don't believe fooled anyone.
You know, this is not new to call a Republican racist, but I think it's very hard for people to call this president a racist, especially, Jason, when you see what he has done for minorities in particular in this country. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, Laura, I am sick and tired of this narrative, and it is a narrative. And unfortunately, we're living in an age of narratives and not facts. We need to look at the facts and the policies that this president has put in place. When you look at opportunity zones, which have encouraged capital to flow into the inner cities, when you look at all the bipartisan prison reform that he's done, when you look at the lowest unemployment rate for African Americans and Hispanics this country has ever seen in history. I mean, this president is the furthest thing from a racist, and I'm just sick and tired of this narrative that they're pushing.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at things even like the First Step Act, the first comprehensive prison reform that was enacted by this president is predominantly helping black families all across this country, because under the Clinton crime bill, many black men were incarcerated and really shouldn't have been. Here, this president has reversed that and is sending these folks back to their families. But I find it so interesting that the Democrats constantly claim racism while tolerating anti-Semitism within their own ranks. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's incredible. Not only do they tolerate it, but they've effectively made anti-Semitism and Jew hatred mainstream.
Yeah.
They now have congresswomen like Ilhan Omar that make regular tropes against Jews. To me, when you look at what the president's done for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel, we have never seen a president in history, not just in modern history, but in history, that's done more for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel. So it's just this narrative that they continue to push to cause division, to group people by the color of their skin or their religion so that they can gain votes. It's a way for them to shut down the debate because they know that they're losing on the issues.
Oh, they are. They have no card to play whenever, as you were explaining earlier, you see the economy soaring, you see people doing better financially, you see that there's GDP in this country is through the roof.
Wage growth.
There's so much positive for people out there. I always say, why would people vote against their own best interest? But we see that they continue to claim racism. They do it too, Jason. When they're talking about the southern border, they claim this president is a racist because he wants to enforce border security. But I think most Americans agree with him. What do you think?
They do, Laura. Look, Americans understand that you need to secure your borders.
Yeah.
Without securing your borders, you have no country. And the president is just enforcing the laws. There's nothing controversial about it.
Yeah.
He's securing the border, and he's doing it with the Democrats obstructing him. For example, the tariffs that he placed on Mexico, or even just the threat of tariffs, got Mexico to do more to secure our southern border than the Democrats have done. So it's really, this president is fixing the problem. He's addressing the loopholes. By the way, child trafficking, A couple years ago, single adult males showed up to the border, just 2% of them with children. Now you're looking at over 50% of single adult males showing up to the border with children. Why? Because they know that it's a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
So he's addressing these loopholes. He understands the humanitarian crisis, and he's going to do what he has to do to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good news, and I always say this, is that most people, I think, understand what this president is doing. They understand that by trying to enforce the laws, it does not make you a bad person. It does not make you a racist. We see them attack the ICE folks. We see them attack the Border Patrol agents continually for enforcing the laws. Guess what? If you don't like the laws, then why don't you change them? That's part of your job as Congress. I tend to think, though, the more radical and ridiculous that they look, and we see it every day. They get even crazier every day, these Democrats. I actually think it makes people more inclined to vote for Donald Trump. I think it makes him look even more presidential. And I really do think, I continue to say that I think more people will come out and vote for him in 2020.
Laura, I think you're right. And I think what's happening, it's interesting. He puts them in a political pincer, where when he says left, they say right.
Yeah.
When he says up, they say down. So what happens is, when he says stand up for the national anthem, or he says we should value the American flag, things that are so commonsensical,
Yes.
okay, they just have to be anti-Trump all
Right.
the time. And so he's put them in this political pincer where, going back to earlier in the interview, when we talk about these policies that are so incompatible with American values and beliefs, that they are going to be voting for President Trump. I think we're going to have a real big landslide victory in 2020, given where the Democrats are today.
Yeah, and I always think, too, that more women, more minorities are going to come out and vote for this president, because for so long, the Democrats, in their mind, had us. They had all the women. They had all the minorities. These are people that for decades have been voting for the Democrats. They get in office. They do nothing for
And now he's delivering
people.
results.
He's the one that has made the big changes and is making life better for everyone. If you thought that it was great on November 8th, 2016, wait until November 3rd, 2020. I can't wait to see the media meltdown. I can't wait to see people's heads exploding again. It's going to be awesome. But Jason, we appreciate everything you do out there fighting for the president every day, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
As President Trump leads the nation with better results all the time, the Democrats get more and more radical, making the choice in 2020 more clear by the day. That's Real News for today. I'm Laura Trump from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. Thanks for joining us, everybody.